that plays it very well. Hi guys. Sorry, I was heating up my hot water so I could drink something while we're chatting and lost track of the time. Hope everybody had a good Christmas. On this live stream today, I really want to talk about carnivore, World Carnivore Month. What is it? Answer any questions you have. Talk about like setting New Year's goals. I'm going to have a cup of hot. I still have my Christmas mug out, but everything else is already packed away and cleaned up. So I am super excited just to hang out. Let me know if you can hear me okay. My microphone's a little far away. So as long as you can hear me, I think we are good. If you can hear me, hit the like button on this live stream. That helps us both for multiple reasons. But yeah, I'm excited just to hang out this evening and talk about January. I think it's been 7 years now. 7 years ago, Dr. Baker coined January, Dr. Sean Baker, as World Carnivore Month. And it's just a great time to, more than anything, like a lot of the months that they have out there, it's just a great way to bring awareness to carnivore. And I think that it's an awesome opportunity for people to give it a try when there's a lot of people doing it at the same time. A lot of times when you're eating this way or eating in some extreme way, it can just feel very isolating if you're the only person that's doing it. And so participating in something like World Carnivore Month and just knowing, like, I think it's a really helpful to know that you're doing something for a temporary amount of time. I am not somebody who can just say, starting for the rest of my life, I'm never going to eat any carbs or sugar ever again for the rest of my life. Now I'm going on a lot of years being carnivore, but I still have a hard time like dealing in these long-term things. And so if you've been having a hard time, you've been falling off the wagon, like saying, I'm going to go carnivore for 30 days or 31 days in January and just giving it like a short period of time, it often can feel more manageable, especially when you know that everybody else is doing it. So a lot of that is the goal. Obviously I'm carnivore and have found that for my husband and I, that's what works best for us. Vegetables just don't make me feel good. They don't really cooperate with my digestive system, and things like fruit and sugar and carbs are too addicting for me. And I can't moderate those things, so I overeat them. And that's why I don't include things like fruit and carbs. Your body doesn't need carbs to function. And so since they're addicting for me, I do much better keeping them out completely. And so while I don't feel like everybody has to be carnivore all the time, I think that everybody can benefit from trying it for a specific amount of time in order to figure out what foods negatively affect them. Judy Cho has written 2 really good carnivore elimination diet books. She has a new one that is launching any day now, is going to start shipping. She's taking pre-orders, and that is the Beginner's Guide to Carnivore. And it's a very simple explanation of how to eat a carnivore diet as a lifestyle and how to use carnivore as an elimination diet. It's a very beginners. I contributed a few beginner recipes. She has a lot of beginner meal plans in there. There is a lot of reasons of, basic explanations of why plants could be causing you harm and what benefits you would have from going to a carnivore diet. So that's pre-order available on Amazon. It's the Beginner's Guide to Carnivore. And then she has a more advanced version, which is already out and it's been out, and she has a couple iterations of that. And that is called Carnivore Cure. And that is for deeper and more advanced level of healing. And it's still by Judy Cho. And she's a board certified nutritional therapy practitioner who uses a carnivore elimination diet to help people heal tremendous issues, autoimmune issues, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, like major issues. So the major healing information comes in the Carnivore Cure book. But if you are looking, I just want to mention a book right offhand. So then we'll talk about a few other things. I do want to mention, and then I will start answering some questions. I will answer as many questions as I can from the chat. If you want to ensure that they pop up to the top and I see them, you can send a super chat. And then also I am doing another live stream only for my local supporters at LAURAESPATH.locals.com. And I'm going to do that on January 2nd, like Monday, kicking off World, and I'll do them in there like once or twice a week for January, especially during World Carnivore Month. And in that live stream, I can answer 100% of every question. Like I can Here, I can't really do that. But in locals, you also could post things. It's like a private community outside of Instagram or Facebook and outside of regular social media. So like there's some people in there that are taking a break from social media in January, and I can still interact with you. It's the only way that I can interact with you and see things. And then it's a way that you can support our family, but also, you know, I don't know what it is about the spam porn bots that are happening on Instagram, but my entire DMs are full of like solicitation, and it's wild. And then YouTube is just so crazy sometimes when, you know, comments and people asking crazy stuff. So it's the way that if people really truly want to heal, it's $10 a month, but it's the way that like I can answer questions and help people. I want to spend my time helping people who want help and are trying to get better and are not just trying to attack me or say like, you're going to have a heart attack because you're eating so much meat. Like it's a lot easier to do that. So that's what locals is. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. And then I will start trying to answer some questions. Let me know in the comments, are you going to participate in World Carnivore Month? Have you been carnivore before? And then are you planning on signing up for it? As I do that, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Element. If you watch any of my videos, you know that they're a great partner of mine. And I am drinking right now a nice warm cup of chocolate chai. I do not do the sweetened flavors most of the time. You guys know I do the unflavored versions. I love them. I mix it with like a big thing of water. My mom and the rest of my family feels like they're a little too salty for them, but I like that like nice mineral flavor, and I water it down a lot so it doesn't bother me. But I'll tell you what, my Christmas go-to, my mom is visiting right now, and she and I have been sitting and having like a warm cup of, feels like hot cocoa or hot chocolate chai. It's sodium, potassium, magnesium. And then this has, obviously, it's sweetened with stevia. And I drink it hot. Like a lot of their chocolate flavored versions are sweetened with stevia. This is the chocolate medley that comes with chocolate raspberry, chocolate chai, and chocolate mint. I love the chocolate chai. My mom loves the chai and also the chocolate mint. But drinking them warm is just like a really fun way. The kids do it like hot chocolate milk. And I just put mine with water because I'm fasting. I didn't want to add anything else to it. My mom will often put some heavy cream in it, but I am comfortable, and it does not break my fast at all to use something that's a little bit sweetened with stevia. But typically I do the unflavored version every morning because that one does not have any sweetener in it whatsoever. They are an unbelievable company with unbelievable customer service. They have a 100% money back guarantee. If you want to try it, you can get a free sample pack with the link that I put in the description of drinkelement.com/LauraSpath. And then they will send you this sample pack with all their regular flavors. The chocolate medleys, they're seasonal, so that one doesn't come with it. But they have a 100% money back guarantee. If you don't like the flavor, if you don't like what it is, they'll just replace it for you. No questions asked, all that good stuff. Taylor said, I just ordered more Element. I had an at-home birth and used Element to keep me hydrated through 18 hours of labor. Wow, congratulations, Taylor. That is unbelievable. That's amazing. I know a lot of women who use Element for breastfeeding as well, because like you really need to stay hydrated when you're breastfeeding, and adding the salt-based electrolyte is really necessary. So a lot of the other competitor brands are filled with sugar, and you definitely don't want that. If you live in the UK, I think they don't ship that far, and I'm sorry, but on their website, they have recipes. They have like their formula and their recipes. So if it's cost prohibitive, or if you live somewhere where they don't ship, you can look on their website. So somebody asked about when is Carnivore Month. World Carnivore Month is in January. It's just a really fun way to have some community and have everybody kind of doing the same thing at the same time. I know that a lot of times in the health and wellness space, people tend to like poo-poo on New Year's resolutions and say like, you're not going to wake up the next day being a brand new person, and you don't have to wait until January and, you know, make it a lifestyle. Yeah, I agree with all of that. If this was October, I would be telling you, don't wait until January 1st. If this was November, I would say, don't wait until January 1st. But guess what? January 1st is here. I love a fresh start. I love a first of the month. You don't have to wait until the next Monday or the next first of the month or the next January 1st to start a diet. But it's already here, so we might as well take advantage. I love a New Year's resolution, having a clean start. I love just being able to Have a fresh goals. I love I use a paper calendar. I have my new 2024. This was my 2023 calendar, and I have a new 2024 calendar in here that I love to write my goals in it. I love to check them off. We have a family calendar out where we, usually are like counting down to some awesome days. I think, I have a hard time, I've talked about this a lot, committing to like long periods of time, but just saying like, hey, I'm going to be carnivore for January, or I'm going to be carnivore for one day. And then every day that you hit those goals, then you can mark that off on the calendar, and just take it one day at a time. So I think most people, this is the one suggestion I will make if you are making New Year's resolutions and goals, is most people tend to go way too big and say, I'm going to wake up the next day, and they think that they're going to become a brand new person. And all of a sudden I'm going to work out, and I'm going to eat good, and I'm going to intermittent fast, and I'm going to declutter my house, and I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to do all these things. I love having goals. The problem is when you lump in all of these goals into one all or nothing thing, then it's very easy that when one of them doesn't go well, we throw everything out entirely. So if your exercising doesn't hit, you didn't exercise 5 days a week for an hour every day like you said you were going to, then it's like, well, I might as well throw the diet out, and I might as well eat pizza. And we give up on, and then it's like, well, I might as well just watch Netflix instead of working on this other project that I've been working on. And it is so easy to take all of these goals and then put them all at the same category, and then it's all or nothing. And I know that because I have done that year after year after year after year. And even after I went carnivore, I still had some roller coasters, and you guys know I gained some weight back and had to work on losing it again. And it's only been in the last few years when I have changed that mindset to focus on having one. I had a lot of goals in my life, but one non-negotiable goal that is very simple and very attainable. And it's about having one thing that I won't throw out no matter what life happens. And for me, that's like eat carnivore. And for you, it might just be no cookies, no cake, no junk food, right? Maybe it's like, I want to be carnivore for the month of January. And that's a goal. And I want to exercise, and I want to do some intermittent fasting. But you know what? I'm still starting out. So my non-negotiable is like, at worst, I'll be keto. At worst, I'm going to say nothing from my pantry. That's my non-negotiable, is I refuse to eat from my pantry. Or I refuse to eat from Chick-fil-A. That was probably a non-negotiable for me for a long time. Another one was I refuse to eat peanut butter, right? So having goals of participate in World Carnivore Month, please add in some movement, add in some walking. If you are insulin resistant, sometimes in the carnivore community, we act like diet is all you need. And to lose weight, absolutely. Diet changes can do it, right? 100%. You can make diet changes and lose weight, and you don't need exercise to lose weight. But you do need exercise and muscle for health, for longevity. As we age, we lose muscle mass, and our muscles deteriorate. And to be 80 years old and walking and moving, and my grandfather is in his 90s, and he chops wood, and he still goes out and bales hay for the cows, and he's climbs over a fence. I'm not going to be able to do that when I'm 90 like he does if I am not doing some type of exercise and movement. And we know I'm the first person to say that's my biggest weakness. So I have a goal of exercise in 2024. But at the end of the day, when life happens and stress happens and things go wrong, I have my non-negotiable of just stay carnivore and don't use, I might even emotionally eat, but I'm going to emotionally eat some cheese and bacon and not end up emotionally eating a whole case of Oreos when then I throw out all of my goals. I'm allowing myself, I don't want to eat when I'm not hungry, and I don't want to snack. And those are goals for me. But my non-negotiable is I will not eat a bunch of junk food. I will give myself enough grace to say maybe you were emotionally eating, but at least it was carnivore and cheese and bacon, and it's still not great. Cheese and bacon are fine, but eating when you're not hungry and out of emotional reasons is not good. But I still am proud of myself, and I still can end my day with a sense of accomplishment because I stuck to that. So as you set your goals for 2024, that is the biggest thing. And somebody said, can you share more about what you do with your locals community? Do you have meetings with your group and hear them in meetings? So think of it like a private Facebook group, but not in Facebook, because a lot of people just don't want to be there anymore. And a lot of it is this, what I just talked about, focusing on, can help you figure out what is your non-negotiable goal. And then we set some other goals. People can, like at Christmas time, we all posted pictures of our decorations and everybody shares. And it's just the way that you would on Facebook, of you post your own stuff. They share recipes, they share ideas. Somebody had surgery lately and we were all praying for her. We have a family member who is going through, or a community member who's just experiencing something really hard, and we're just all there for her and supportive. There's a lot of times in your personal life when there's just people that don't know what it is that you're going through. And you're the only person that's eating this way. And there's so many people telling you, just eat the one cookie. You can have one piece of pizza. It's my birthday. You can eat one piece of cake. No, you can't. No, I can't. And a lot of times in your life, people just don't realize that. And it's nice to have somebody who understands what you're going through. And that's a lot of what we do. I do live streams like this. I get to know everybody in there very well, but because I can read all of the comments in there. I think I've seen some people, I recognize a lot of the names. So some of you guys are here from there. And you can post your own stuff. I post a message too. So there's a way to join as a supporter and be involved in the live streams, like I just mentioned. But there is a free way to join, and I make a morning post. It goes live at 7 Eastern time every day. And it's just my way of it's actually why I never post on Instagram anymore, because I write all this stuff for locals every single day. And then I totally forget to go post on Instagram again. But I just talk about what I'm going through, what you guys are going through, some tips, tricks, encouragement. I do that, and it goes live every single morning for everybody for free. So you can join for free. And then if you want to be a supporter, then you can see YouTube videos early. So I give you guys access early, and then I do live streams and we can interact. And then you post your own things. You can just be a lurker. If you're free, you can just be a lurker like that. Christina said, would sour cream and cottage cheese be considered carnivore? I've been loving some cottage cheese bowls lately with meat and cheese. So yes, they would be considered carnivore. But that doesn't mean that they're necessarily okay for your goals. And I think that's the part that sometimes carnivore gets a little muddled, because they are carnivore, but cottage cheese has a lot of carbs in it. So some cottage cheese has a lot of protein, and that's also a good thing. If you're struggling to eat a lot of protein, that would be a good thing to include. You could, if you like it and you can eat a lot, but the carbs in cottage cheese do add up very quickly. And so if you are trying to reverse insulin resistance, if your weight loss is stalled, if a lot of dairy too much dairy could be a problem for some people with their digestive systems and with inflammation, you might just want to leverage that. So enjoy some cottage cheese. I wouldn't do it every single day. I wouldn't do a whole container in one day. And then if your weight loss is stalled, or if your blood sugar is not coming down as much as you would want it to, then I would take a break from that for a little while. So those are the best things. Erica, this is a great question. What are the best go-to staples to stock my fridge with? I should have done that's a really great question. I would just say basic meat. Any meat that you like and that you can afford is the first place that I would start. I would start with ground beef, is a really good versatile one. And then I would do bone-in chicken thighs. I would have bacon, eggs. I love, we do a lot of pork belly. I know some people don't eat pork. So pork belly, regular pork chops, and then steaks, depending on your budget. You could have chuck eye steaks are pretty affordable and really fatty and delicious. And so adding a steak or two. And I think that's the best place to start. As far as other things, I use butter for cooking. I know a lot of people there's some people who are eating sticks of butter, and I'm adamantly disagree with that. But vehemently is maybe the word I was looking for. I think that's a little, I don't think that's helpful for anybody. So finding ways to incorporate animal fats. I got a DM on Instagram that I happened to see where somebody was asking about what kind of oils can you be cooking in. A lot of oils are inflammatory. There are some that are less inflammatory than others. And so you'll see me use an avocado oil occasionally, rarely, but I stay away from seed oils, which is canola oils and vegetable oils and corn oils and all that kind of stuff. Soy oils, I try to avoid all of that. And so you want to cook in animal fats, tallow, lard, ghee, butter is a good one. We cooked something today on a really high heat cast iron griddle, and butter would burn. So we use tallow and we use ghee on that. And so if you want something that's high heat, you're going to need one of those two because they're a really high smoke point fat. And then just, basting things with butter at the end is a really great way to do it. So that's a good one. Yeah, Miss Vivi said, I put cottage cheese in my scrambled eggs to boost the protein. That would be a good way. I make some egg bites. I have a YouTube video, my What I Eat in a Day family edition that I did very recently. We make egg bites with cottage cheese blended in them. My daughter loves them and eats them for breakfast pretty much every single day now. I'll eat a couple of those a week. I'm not going to eat those every day, and I'm not going to eat tons of them. But it's I think it's a quarter cup of cottage cheese in a whole batch. To me, that's no big deal. But you don't want to be eating like 2 cups of cottage cheese a day if you're focusing on lowering blood glucose and weight loss. If you are very fit and very athletic, that's a good way of having some extra carbs in your diet without having to have potatoes and sweet potatoes and rice, is eating a bunch of cottage cheese or something like that. Christina said, I still feel like being in a calorie deficit is helpful for weight loss. I know many people in carnivore disagree. Do you find you eat in a calorie deficit just by eating any meats that you want? No. Yeah, I do feel like there's a calorie, like sometimes people act like in carnivore calories don't matter, and calories very much matter. But there is a big difference between 500 calories of eggs and 500 calories of donuts. The one thing that people don't really talk about when you're looking at calories is satiety. 500 calories is a big plate of bacon and eggs. When I could eat, I don't even know the math. Somebody do the math and put it. How many Krispy Kreme donuts is 500 calories, right? I could eat that amount of Krispy Kreme donuts, or even let's say, like toast, like something, bowl of cereal. I could eat several bowls of cereal and have it be 500 calories, or I could eat 500 calories of bacon and eggs. Bacon and eggs is a lot more satiating. Your body is going to get fat and protein, and you are not going to be, and your blood sugar is going to be stable. So when I eat 500 calories of bacon and eggs, sometimes I'm not hungry again for the rest of the day. And that's why one of the biggest problems that people have on carnivore is that they undereat, because you eat a big plate of bacon and eggs middle of the day. So yeah, 2 donuts is 500 calories. Thank you so much, Paul. If you ate 2 donuts, which I could do, no problem, my blood sugar is going to spike and then it's going to crash. And within an hour or 2 hours, I am going to be ravenously hungry again, right? That's when you get hangry, because your body is going, I need more food that I can quick burn, right? I could eat 1,000 calories, right? I agree with you. 2 Pauls, right? I agree with both Pauls. I could eat 4 donuts in seconds, and then I would be ravenously hungry. So yes, calories absolutely still matter. Most people in carnivore don't track calories simply because there is an element that's it's very satiating. The thing that like myself, my husband, my mom all have to be very careful of when eating carnivore is not to overeat things like dairy, because dairy is not as satiating as something like a protein and fat would be, right? I could easily overeat dairy from an emotional reason. 6.5 eggs is 500 calories. How many of you could sit down and eat 6.5 eggs? Not a lot of people. And I mean, I've done it. Actually, I would eat like 4 eggs and some bacon, and I'm eating a whole plate of bacon and eggs, and it's about 600 calories. So you're 600 calories. And so I'm going to be full and satisfied because my body is getting nutrients that it needs to absorb. And so there is more stability in your hunger and your appetite and your blood sugar when you're eating that way. And so that is one of the key things. The other thing that I think it's important to realize is that I think that's why people have such a hard time not under eating, because the food is so much more satisfying. So you have to be careful with that. Martha asked a good question kind of along this line, is what's wrong with low calories? There's nothing wrong. Low calorie works for people. You can absolutely lose weight by eating low calorie. The problem is that food is not as nutritious and that food is not as satiating. How many of you have gone on a diet eating grilled chicken and salads and lost weight? Because I have. I've done that, where you can do that. The problem is you typically can't do that for very long. And you typically can't sustain that because number one, it's not that tasty. Number two, it's not very satiating. I could eat some grilled chicken breast in a salad and I'm going to be just as hungry a couple hours later as I would be if I ate a donut, right? This is why when people are doing low calorie, you tend to see them eating 3 meals a day and all of these snacks in between. And it's because of the fact that your body is not getting like a lot of nutrients. You're just getting, your stomach is full of all that fiber and vegetables. And so you're temporarily full, but then your body is processing it and I don't have all of these nutrients. So that is a big thing where low calorie works. There's just not typically, if I was eating low calorie, my body is then over time just getting starved of nutrients. And anytime that I have eaten low calorie for a substantial amount of time, I eventually get so ravenous that I go on some type of binge. And it's why people who do low calorie end up going off the rails and eating a bunch of junk on the weekends, because your body is just so starved of nutrition that then you end up overeating. So if you're somebody who can track and do low calories, like the problem with doing low calories in that way is that you end up just being hungry all the time. And typically people can't stick to that for very long. But again, you could do what works for you in that. The thing that works well for me, and because I could still overeat on carnivore, I could eat a whole big meal and then I could turn around a few hours later and I'm not actually physically hungry, but we all know it's like fun to eat. And if there's bacon and eggs in the fridge, like it's very easy for me to eat that even though I'm not hungry. And so that's why I personally like doing some intermittent fasting, because I know I can eat as much as I want within the context of these 2 meals, but I don't need to snack. I'm not hungry enough to be able to snack, but I also know that like from a nutritional perspective, I don't need the nutrition that comes from that. And it just helps me, fasting helps me put some guardrails on my emotions. And it helps me really be in tune with, am I eating for physical hunger or am I eating for emotional hunger? Because if I just, today I had actually like, this is a different kind of day for me, but I just had like 2.5 pounds of crab legs for lunch with a whole bowl of butter that I dipped it in. So I had like not a ton of calories, but I had a lot of fat and I had a lot of protein from eating that way. So right now I'm not actually that hungry. I'm having like my little mug of chocolate chai, which is from Element. But I don't need food this evening based on the fact that I've already eaten 2 meals for the day. And so, you know, sometimes your body might like give you some signals saying that it's hungry, but having some electrolytes or having some water, going for a walk, getting busy, getting out of the house, like staying away from the kitchen, all of a sudden you realize, hey, that hunger went away and I wasn't actually hungry. I was just bored. Or I wasn't actually hungry. I was just stressed. Or I wasn't actually hungry. This is just when I normally eat lunch and my body is just used to eating a lot. That's the one thing I think too, like, in going back to what I said at the very beginning, in case you missed it, like, I think you should have an intermittent fasting goal, even if it's like, I'm going to eat 3 meals a day. Starting off with 3 meals a day and not having any snacks is a great place to start. That's when you're starting out carnivore. And if you want to participate in World Carnivore Month. But if the worst thing that happens is you have a very stressful day and you have like a really crazy situation and you're, you know, like just emotionally eating and something really hard happens for you or you're feeling bad. And then all of a sudden you go to the kitchen and you grab a bunch of bacon and cheese and you're eating and you're snacking. You're like, well, this probably wasn't the best thing, but hey, I stuck to carnivore and that's a win. So my non-negotiable is stick to carnivore. Even though I'm able to, I have a goal of like intermittent fasting, if that makes sense. So yeah, all those good things. Let's see, I'm going to try to catch up on some of the comments. Like I said before earlier, I do live streams like this a lot more often, and I can read all of the comments in my locals community. So if you come to LauraESpath.locals.com, then I can, I'm going to do a live stream Monday night for supporters. I post in there every day for free, which everybody can watch and read my good morning posts. And I like talk and hopefully give you tips and encouragement and share all kinds of fun stuff. But if you're a supporter, you can see more live streams like this where I can then answer all the questions. Yeah, Allison said bread cheese. I could easily overeat that. Me too. Totally. And that's why I think like calories still matter on carnivore, but it's typically, so I think it's, if you're eating within a certain amount of meals and you're just you can still overeat. But I think a lot of people actually have the problem of under eating. So that's a big one. Please share how you cook your crab legs. We actually just throw them in the smoker or the oven and just like, because they're already cooked when you get them from the store. They just need to be warmed up. So while we're cooking everything else, we just put them on in some foil and then let them kind of steam themselves. And then we put them in the oven in the smoker and just get them nice and warm. They usually actually could sit in there. It takes like an hour on like 250 or 300. And then it's the easiest thing in the world. And then I have like a little butter warmer and I light a candle and then I like dip them in the butter. That's been our fun. Like we ate them on Christmas Eve and then they were on sale at the grocery store. And so we got some after Christmas as well. Let's see. Where do you get your bread cheese? I will post the link for that. I order it. You can find it. Some grocery stores have it. Some grocery stores call it like bread cheese or oven baked cheese or something like that. It's just cheese. There's no bread in it. Places like Aldi and Trader Joe's have it, but it's seasonal where you can only find it in the summer. And then some like Kroger and Fry's grocery stores have it. I get it from Gardners, Wisconsin cheese does shipping. So if you can't find it in a grocery store, you could get it online. Things like that. Anna asked, what oils and greases do you use? Anna, I just answered that about 10 minutes ago. So stick with animal fats, but if you want a more in-depth answer, then when you can go back and watch about 10 minutes ago, I think I did it. Mike said, I feel like I tend to overeat on carnivore while trying to intermittent fast because I'm afraid I'll get hungry during my fasting period. That's so true. Mike, that's such a good thing to call out. And I want to talk about that because I hear that it's so common. There is so much of us that has this food scarcity mentality of what, like the minute you say I'm fasting, I can't eat, our body goes, I might, like it is a real thing. Some people grew up, like there's somebody in my locals community who I love so dearly. And a year ago, she absolutely could not fast whatsoever. And a lot of that was because of her childhood. They had a food scarcity situation and they were not there. She didn't often know when her next meal was coming from. And so, you know, there was a lot of times when, because of that mentality, she overeats now. And when food is in front of her, she tends to overeat. And a lot of that goes back to some, you know, lack of food that she had when she was younger. And so I think what I try to do in that situation is like, just honestly, just telling myself like, there's food available when I'm ready for it. If I get hungry enough, here's what I could eat. Here's what I could get. I could have even like, if you're out and about, I could stop at any fast food restaurant and grab some burger patties. I could stop at any grocery store and grab a rotisserie chicken. I could go any of those places. Like I can eat food. It's not about you can't eat food. And I think this is where the non-negotiable thing comes into place is like, your non-negotiable is like, you're just going to stick to carnivore, or you're just not going to eat junk, or you're going to stick to meat and vegetables, like whatever's right for you. But I think that knowing that like I'm choosing right now to not eat food, like I could eat food if I need to, but I'll wait until I need to. Like knowing what's available if you needed it, hopefully can reduce some of that panic. And just knowing where and how to grab things and knowing that like where, you know, what it is, how are you going to get food if you really got into a bind, if you really got hungry? Like, I think that can hopefully ease things. And knowing that your non-negotiable is, I'm going to stick to carnivore, but then great, I would love to intermittent fast if I can, but don't put too much pressure on yourself. That's the biggest thing. And I think more than anything, as you guys start this goal, I don't know. Okay, I'll say this. Chris is already rolling his eyes, telling me to shut up from the other probably. I really don't watch a lot of other content because I think that sometimes we all tend to get caught up in the trends. I have that video I did last summer where I really talked about like, just stop with all the trends, because I think sometimes maybe this is World Carnivore Month is that for you. This is what I'm trying to put into perspective. World Carnivore Month is everybody going, it's World Carnivore Month, we all got to participate. And I think that's important to try something new, and it's great to try new things. But I also think like you need a really simple, easy, non-negotiable. And I don't think there's any specific way, like you don't have to do carnivore a specific way so be careful about getting caught up in all this. And I forget where I was going with that, but I think that as we start this, like, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Be aware of people who are promising you quick weight loss fast. I have like my Twitter ads right now is them promise like some keto, it's like a scam, totally a scam. but it's like, don't get scammed by all the products. Use ours as the real one. Lose 50 pounds in 7 days on this by taking this, and it's an apple cider vinegar gummy. Like, take our pill and you can lose 50 pounds in 70 days. Bro, I'm sorry. Like, there is, even if somebody crazy was like, if you were 500 pounds and you did not, and you just fasted, you could lose 7 pounds in 5 or 50 pounds in 7 days. But the likelihood of you keeping that off, like if you're not losing that weight in a way that is, you're going to be able to sustain that lifestyle. This is the thing with low calorie that we mentioned earlier. Okay. If you are losing weight in a way that is not sustainable for you for the rest of your life, you 100% will gain all that weight back. You can't, there is no going back. I'm going to eat this way for a short amount of time and I'm going to lose my weight and then I'm going to go back to normal. Because whatever your normal was, you're going to gain all your weight back. That's what got you in this place. If I went back to normal, I would be obese and pre-diabetic and unhealthy and have all these health issues again. Like, it's a really hard, it's a scarcity thing. And then we go, oh, I have to do this forever. Like, that's where this mind balance is, saying like, I have to be okay with doing something in a way that I can go out to eat with my friends. I can feed my family at the same time. I can go on vacation and still stick to this. Like, you have to give yourself the flexibility of being able to do this in a way that is not so strict. So I saw a comment that said, and this ties into that, I'm doing BBB&E in January. Any tips? BBB&E is Dr. Barry's program, which I love because it simplifies everything of bacon, butter, beef, and eggs. And it's a great way of just like, sometimes we want to say like, what can I eat? And if I go, eat anything with a face on it, eat anything that was like that sometimes is like, okay, but what does that mean? Can I eat cottage cheese? Can I eat this? Can I eat that? And so somebody saying eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, go. That's it, go. That's a great place to start. It is a great place to start, to say, I have all of this stuff, all of this advice. It's very overwhelming. What can I do? And for me, when I started, I would have lost weight. I could have eaten as much as I wanted of those things at first and lost weight. It's great. Okay, I support that. Over time, you can't eat that 7 times a day and still lose weight. So like, you are going to have to eventually make some adjustments as you go. It's a fantastic place to start because it is very simple. What my tip for that is, have the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs be your goal, but have your non-negotiable thing be no carbs, no sugar, no junk, no actual sugar. Because if you're in a situation where somebody's making you a pork chop and you're telling yourself, I can't eat that because it's not beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I can't have shrimp. I can't have a piece of fish. I'm at a restaurant and all they have is fish. What am I like? Eat the fish. And I think even Dr. Berry would totally agree with that. Like, the point of that is to make it simple for you, but your non-negotiable for me should be like, just don't eat carbs and sugar. Like, if you're in that situation and you eat a piece of salmon or you eat some shrimp or you eat like some pork belly, like all of those things are fine. Like, I think that's the point, is we need to have a goal. Like, this is my goal, but you cannot treat yourself like a failure if you were to then have cheese, right? That's probably the big one. Because the pork belly is probably close enough to bacon that counts. Like, it's probably not a big deal if you put some cheese and sour cream on a bowl of ground beef. Now, if you're trying to be super strict and you want to lose weight faster, sure, cut out the dairy. But like, if that is going to keep you happier while the rest of your family is eating Taco Bell or the rest of your family is eating pizza and you're sitting there eating a bowl of plain ground beef and you want to like scream and just throw it out the window, put some cheese and some taco seasoning and some sour cream on top and just live it up, and then eat it with some pork rinds and just give yourself some big old nachos and enjoy it and tell yourself like, dang, I am so proud of myself that I avoided those tacos and I avoided those tortilla chips because I had something that was just like really, really, really awesome. And I loved it. So that's the non-negotiable part. But have the goal of like, do all that others. Like, sure, that's a simple way of explaining it to somebody, but just don't make it this thing that like, you're going to feel like a failure if you eat some sour cream or you eat some fish or something else like that. So totally think all that is helpful. How How do you know how much you should plan to eat per day, thinking about stocking up while I'm shopping? That's a hard one, Anthony. It's kind of a hard question. But typically I would say like that amount is going to vary. People often talk in like pounds of meat, but that's a really bad measurement, to be honest, because of the fact that a pound of chicken is a different nutritional density than a pound of ribeye and a pound of ground beef. So, I really just try to focus on getting enough protein in. We like to see 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of lean body mass. So like think about what's your absolute goal weight at your healthiest, fittest, and like try to get 1 gram of protein in for that. Especially women, it's hard to eat that much protein oftentimes. And so you have to kind of be careful about that. But I would say like Chris probably knows he eats like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of meat every day because he's pretty much eating New York strips and picanha. And that's pretty standard for him. I eat way more variety than Chris does. And so, I don't really measure as much in pounds, but I think that, I think honestly, especially because most people who are going to be starting carnivore in January are just starting out, I think you should focus on 2 to 3 meals a day, eat as much as you want during those 2 meals. And then over time, you can adjust based on your goals. If your weight loss is stalled, maybe you need to eat more, eat less, like track. I have a YouTube video on like, what do you do if your weight loss is stalled? But I think that like doing it for a full month, 2 or 3 meals a day, depending on how much you can eat at once. People who have had previous gastric surgeries or lap band surgeries need to eat 3 meals a day for sure. I love eating 1 meal a day because it's so simple and convenient and it's so much less work trying to cook twice a day, but I just can't eat that much in one sitting anymore. My husband still can, and he eats 1 meal a day and he loves it. My mom needs to eat 3 meals, 3 or 2 meals a day as well, just because she can't really like sit and eat a lot in one sitting. So if you're sitting there eating 2 or 3 eggs and you're stuffed, you need 3 meals. That is not enough food for you to eat 1 or 2 meals a day. If you're having like an 8-ounce hamburger patty and a couple eggs at another meal, like that's not nearly enough food. But I think if you're coming from, I'll tell you this though, the more crappy of a diet that you're coming from, the more like loosey you could be in the beginning. You're going to have to get more strict over time, but you could have some dairy. You can have the coffee creamer, the heavy cream in your coffee. You could have those things in the beginning, and you probably are still going to lose weight and not have to like cut some of those things out until later. You have to decide if you're going to be this like super extreme person, go all in with everything, or if you can like gradually cut things out. It's easier for me. Like I'm definitely like an all in person, but I still now, like I'm an all in person, but I still have these little guardrails that I can operate within, where I feel like the biggest thing of all that I think causes people to fail when they are eating any kind of diet or they're trying to lose weight is that they are too hard on themselves. And the minute that one specific thing doesn't go well, or they don't do it right, or they're not perfect, or they feel like they've slipped in any way, it is human nature for us to throw so much self-shame and sabotage. And then to tell ourselves like, I failed, I messed up, I might as well go all the way back to what I was doing before. And then we're at a gas station eating the candy bars, or we go through the drive-through when we think nobody's looking. And it's like, we go all the way off the rails again because like I broke my intermittent fasting window and I ate something that I shouldn't, when really like you ate some broccoli, like you'll be all right, actually like you're probably going to be gassy and bloated, but you're going to be okay. Like don't make it that hard on yourself. My mom normally ate some Brussels sprouts on sorry mom if she's watching. She's somewhere. Oh, I think her and the kids went for a walk. My mom ate some Brussels sprouts on Christmas, and she was like, well, these certainly are the gassiest of vegetables. She's not usually eating like a lot of vegetables like that. And let me tell you, like that, she paid for that. She has been bloated and farting it up for a little while. So Tina too. Yeah. But this is where you gotta know what is the like hard no non-negotiables. I will not eat that sugar, junk, carbs. But like, here's my things that are probably not that big of a deal. And then here's my go-tos. Here's my goals. And then give yourself a little more grace with what's in the middle, with things that are not actually gonna like completely throw you off. I think that somebody mentioned alcohol earlier. I just think absolutely like going alcohol free for a while is the best thing that you could do for your health. I know I sound like a fuddy-duddy when I say that, but like you will not lose weight when you are drinking alcohol regularly, even if it's low carb. Like wine, definitely not going to lose weight. And it's certainly not going to help your blood sugar. And most, even the dry wines or whatever, you know, if you're doing that regularly, it's going to keep you from losing a lot of weight. But if you are even drinking zero carb alcohols, your body, in order to lose weight, kind of processes that fat through your liver. And that's how you lose weight. Well, if you drink alcohol, even zero carb alcohol, your blood sugar is not going to spike. And actually, if in any case, most of the time when people drink alcohol, their blood glucose goes down, right? This is actually one of the problems with alcoholics is that their blood glucose goes like dangerously low. So you drink alcohol, people that have like the CGM monitors and do the Instagram and the TikTok videos or whatever, they're like, look, I drank alcohol and my glucose went down. Yeah, your glucose went down, but now your liver has to stop processing fat and clean out the alcohol and filter out all the alcohol. And then when it's done with the alcohol, it goes back to doing the fat again. So if you're drinking alcohol every day or regularly, then your body is constantly going in and out of fat burning mode and you're just not going to lose. It's going to stall you. So like, you know, Chris might have a couple of drinks once a month, maybe less than that actually lately, because he's been being super strict the last several months. But if we go on vacation or something like that, it's just not worth it to me because I don't want to deal with the bloated or I don't want to not be, you know, I don't want to deal with the weight gain. I'd rather eat some extra cheese and bacon one day than drink alcohol. Maybe you're different, but like, if you give me a choice of having alcohol or extra cheese, I'll choose the extra cheese every day. And then I'm going to not worry about being the alcohol. Just a reminder too, the link for the Element, if you want the free sample pack of the Element, is in the description. If you're trying to be like uber super strict and have zero sweeteners, get the unflavored version, which is just the sodium, magnesium, and potassium. And if you want to try some fun, like the citrus, the orange tastes kind of like the old school Gatorades. And then I have right now like a nice cup of like chocolate chai. If you're wanting some kind of like dessert thing, like I'm fasting right now and I'm drinking this, has some stevia in it. It's fine. I drink the unflavored every day, and this is just like my little fun treat that I've been having a little bit over the holidays instead of alcohol, right? Everybody else is sitting around having cocktails. Everybody else is having treats, some kind. Like I'm having like a little treat here. Actually, you know what? The kids got me a Ninja Creamy for Christmas. I should try to make like a slushie or something with some heavy cream and one of these chocolate elements. And I bet that would make like heavy cream, the salted caramel. There's a chocolate caramel element. I should mix that in the Ninja Creamy and see if the kids would do that with chocolate ice cream and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to try that for sure. The chili mango is a popular one for sure. Metal Head Hippie says, I'm eating 2.5 pounds of tri-tip as we speak with 4 pats of butter on it. Fantastic. That sounds like Chris's perfect favorite meal. A lot of you, I think I saw some comments asking about Chris. He's doing great. He's like went to the gym actually for the first time today in a long time. He went to the sauna. Like he was kind of waiting on the sauna until his incision had healed enough that you don't want to introduce bacteria from extra sweating. But today actually was his first day back in the gym. So I'm really excited for him for that. And then he had his surgery on November 20th. So he's like 5 weeks post-op right now. So actually I think Monday already is 6 weeks. So it's 5.5 weeks. And then he went back to the gym already today and he's doing really great. So he's coming up on that 6-week mark. Let me see here. Sorry, trying to catch up on comments. Yeah, there's Chris. He's doing good. Okay, so let's see here. Sorry, whey protein isolate, is that okay? It can be. I think it depends. From what I understand, I've heard that people with Hashimoto's and autoimmune conditions shouldn't eat whey. And then I also have heard, like, depending on how, some people, like, it depends on how it makes you feel. Equip has a beef isolate protein. I know a lot of the carnivores and everybody loves the beef isolate protein powder. I do as well. So if you want to try like a beef isolate protein powder instead, but I think like, I talked in my last video about the carnivore like the protein powder pancakes that Nathaniel eats pretty much every day. If you're like our friend Metalhead up there and you're eating 2.5 pounds of tri-tip with butter, you don't need protein powder and you don't need protein powder pancakes. But if you are somebody like my mom who really struggles to eat 150 grams of protein in a day, she can eat a whole batch of protein pancakes. My kids love it. And it's a great way for them to have pancakes without having like actual pancakes. And I'm getting them extra protein in the mornings. Then it's a great way to do extra protein. But you don't need it, and you certainly don't need it to be successful on carnivore. You just need meat for that. But if you are struggling to eat enough in a day or having a hard time just eating a lot of meat as you transition, then having like a protein drink or a protein pancake can be really helpful for that. Neri Chapman said, I would love to see a fully healed update on your surgery. I'm doing great. I am a year post-op. I haven't like been trying to show my belly everywhere as much, but I probably should do like some kind of update for you. We are, Chris is 6 weeks now and I am a year post-op and feeling totally great. I might have like a tinge of like, if I do an ab workout, which is not often, but if I do, then I might feel a little bit of that twinge come back, or just I get sore quicker. But I'm doing amazing. It's absolutely the best thing that I've ever done in my life, worth every penny. I have absolutely no regrets, and I'm super thrilled. And every time I get dressed, I still can't even believe that like this is me and I don't have that little pooch anymore, for sure. Sorry, let me see. What kind of fish did Chris have? Sea bass. Yeah, sea bass is what he's been eating. It's just a very mild metalhead. There we go. Metalhead hippie. Rock on. I eat vegetarians. Good. Vegetarian cows, right? I eat cows who eat plants, so that makes me a vegetarian. Yeah. Tina, if you're having a hard time eating 70 grams of protein, that's where something like a protein powder, or even like those little egg bites, something that makes it a different form, can be really helpful. Simply because it's honestly, it's a lot easier mentally sometimes for you to, rather than sit there and eat, like Nathaniel would never sit there and eat 4 eggs and 5 eggs in one sitting, but he'll eat a whole batch of protein pancakes that's not only made with 5 eggs, but it has a full scoop of protein powder in it. So he's 7 and he's eating 50 grams of protein for breakfast in the morning. And he does really well. Thoughts on extreme high cholesterol eating carnivore? Carnivore is a big cholesterol is a big misconception. And I think most carnivores are looking for their triglycerides to be under 100. Mine are. And your HDL is going to be a good range. You're looking for that HDL to triglyceride ratio. Your LDL can be higher. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there are still it's not okay for it to be like insanely high. The problem is your doctor is probably going to come back to you and say, here's your total cholesterol. Now take this pill. And I have to be very careful how I say this, or YouTube is going to shut me down. I am not saying, like, if you don't know the breakdown of your cholesterol into HDL, LDL, and triglycerides, then I wouldn't just jump straight to that. Like, your doctor is coming back and giving you a total, and the total is not as informative as the actual triglycerides, HDL, and LDL. And so you have to know that information, and I would encourage you to find that out. Then I would also just check out, like, I'm going to be careful about how I word things, but go to like cholesterolcode.com. Dave Feldman is an engineer who has like a cholesterol calculator that he uses for calculating those things. High LDL, there are studies that show that like women need a higher, not like crazy, but like a higher LDL. And that's actually really good for your hormones as you age, when you go through menopause. So check out cholesterolcode.com and you can input your number. But if all you have is your total, I would encourage you to take a step farther and look up the actual breakdown of those 3 numbers. And then even one step further than that, if you have a high LDL and you are concerned, you can get a coronary artery calcium scan. And you also can get a test. I got a test. My LDL is a little higher. I got a test to find out the particle size of your LDL. There's like big, fat, fluffy particles, and then there's smaller particles. and they are not created equal. So like if you have a high DL and you are concerned, I think Judy and I did a podcast on that a while ago, just about cholesterol in general, where find out those particle sizes. You also can look up, there's a book called How to Stay Off of My Table by, somebody's going to know in the comments. Tell me the name. Tell me his name. Why can't I think of it? Off the top of my head. So just How to Stay Off My Table. And he is a heart surgeon who does keto, and Dr. Ovadia. Thank you so much. Dr. Phil Ovadia. Thank you, Christina. You're on it. He wrote a book, and so you can stay off my operating table by Dr. Ovadia. He wrote a book, and he really talks a lot about the particle size of your cholesterol. So that is where I would go. Yeah, Tina said she sent all her blood work to Dr. Berry. I get all my blood work done on my own. I actually probably am going to do that again soon. I get all that done on my own, and then I just like look at the numbers myself, or I go over them with somebody that I know. Like we all go over them. I know somebody said, "Are you and Judy going to bring back the podcast?" Honestly, hopefully we'll figure it out. But it is the schedule has been insane. We actually used to film during the day when I was working I work a regular corporate job, and we used to I block myself off as busy for an hour, and we used to film during the day. And my job has just gotten crazier and busier, and I've been traveling so much more. And she and I live very different schedules, and coordinating recording all the time has been so hard. But I will say too, we also have kind of like said all there is to say. So there's still we're going to keep that library up for a long time. She also has her new book that came out, that's coming out right now, of The Beginner's Guide to Carnivore. So make sure you check that out. And then she also has now reprinted, and you can get an actual physical copy of Carnivore Cure. If you missed it at the very beginning, I broke down both of those books and explained them in a little more detail. So there's a lot of good books. Yeah, Dr. Ovadia's book is excellent, especially if you have family members or friends who are a little leery of starting carnivore because of their concern of cholesterol or heart disease. Hand them a book by an actual heart surgeon, because they're never going to listen to you, right? Dr. Berry calls it the powder butt syndrome. My mom was never going to listen to me. You know who she listened to? Dr. Berry. She would listen to Dr. Berry. And even though I was saying the exact same thing, she wouldn't listen to me because I am her child and she's not going to take me seriously. And oftentimes, people in your life, you can't really convince them these things because they're not going to listen to you. They're too close. So hand them a book by a heart surgeon and say, I'm going to be fine. That kind of thing. Allison said, I have gifted 3 of those books. Awesome. Steve Forbes said, how do I sign up for Carnivore Month? You just do it. That's it. Listen, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that are promoting their programs, their books, what groups. I've talked about my group on here. My group isn't so much we do a carnivore challenge together, but it's also more I talked about it earlier. We just do more the concept of I'm going to help you set some goals that are specific for you. There are people in that group that are very strict carnivore, more strict than me, but they do meat, salt, water, keep it very simple, dairy free, that kind of stuff. There's people in that group like Miss Tina and Miss Vivi up there, they eat some carbs, they eat small amounts of vegetables occasionally. They can tolerate those things. There is a few other things that they do. So there's a wide variety of people in this group. I don't think that there's one answer of this is what everybody should be doing, so here's my 30-day program. And it's why I don't have here's my 30-day program on how to do this diet, because there's just you're not going to stick to this forever if I have to give you what works for me, because it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. If you have some crazy healing that needs to be done, the Lion Diet, those things are a great way to get started. So those, I think is helpful and important. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, it's already 6 o'clock. Well, here in Arizona. So there is no way to sign up for the program. You obviously can come join my group if you want support at lauraespath.locals.com. There's lots of other people's groups that are out there for support, but the concept of World Carnivore Month is, and I don't think Dr. Baker is the one who started it, Dr. Sean Baker. I don't think he has a sign up this year or a place that you can go. Maybe you could go join his email list or something, but it's really just this let's all eat meat in January and promote the fact that we are healthier, people are healing themselves, and we are living better lives by eating animal-based foods and meals and meats. And as much as people are cutting out meat and trying to, that's what's being perpetrated on us. It's why I'm afraid of channels like this getting shut down, and it's why I still work a real job, because you don't know at what point like the pro meat agenda will be shut down. But yeah, spread the message. You can hashtag World Carnivore Month. But it's a lot of just the way, like I know tons of people who have heard about this, like, because Rogan's been talking about it a lot, and he heard about it from Sean Baker. But now it's like all of these like bros everywhere, and it's turned into this whole movement. Like that's what we want to see. We want to see more people eating meat, more people cutting out junk, and people living healthier and happier lives. So yeah, thanks for hanging out tonight. If you have any more questions, I will be doing a live stream on Monday, January 2nd at LAURAESPATH.locals.com, and you can come hang out there. You can hang out anytime, and I will be doing lots more videos coming in January as well. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.